In this video, we're going to continue from where we left off on the last video. We're going to build this website using HTML and CSS. Okay, as you can see, we have a nice animation here as well. So this is the design that we did last time. Okay, so in this video, we're just going to convert that from Figma to HTML and CSS, and then this is the website. That's what and how it looks like. Okay, I'll see you in the video. Okay, so this is where we left off on our last video. We're going to be exporting the assets that we're going to be using in this project. Okay, so this image, just click the image and then go to export. Here, just click this plus button on the export and then choose the format that you want to export the image as. So in this video, I'm going to be using a PNG. Okay, and also for this hamburger menu, you can choose to export this as an image, or you can style this entirely in CSS. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to waste your time styling the hamburger menu. It's quite easy to do. It's just a div. You can make like 3 divs here to do this in CSS. And also for the logo, I'm going to export this as an SVG. You can choose to do this in HTML and CSS, but I'm not going to do that in this video because it's quite easy. You can do it by yourself. Okay, so yeah, I've already exported these files already. So when I go into my project file, I have 3 files. So the first one is image folder. These are just the images that we're going to be using in this video. And also I have style CSS, it's empty, and index HTML, which is also empty. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to generate the HTML boilerplate, and then I'm going to name this I don't know, glass website or something. And also we need to go to the Google Fonts and get a font that we're going to be using. So in this video, we're going to be using Nunito. So just go to Google Fonts and then get a font from there. Google Fonts. Okay, so just get a font from there. I've already done that. All you need to do is just copy the links that they give you from there. So I'm just going to paste that in. Okay, I don't want to waste your time going to Google Fonts. Okay, so the font is Nunito. So when you go to style, you just need to put that font in the body. Okay, so before we do anything, let's link our style sheet in our project. So down here, I'm just going to say link. So we're just going to link the style.css. And then in here, I'm just going to do basic page resetting to set everything to margin to be 0 and then padding 0. And then the box sizing, it has to be border box. Box sizing, border box. And then in the body, that's where we're going to do the font, which is Nunito. Alright, so you can use a different font actually. So it's up to you what you decide to use. Alright. So now let's give it a background color. Background color to red, just to see if everything is connected and everything is working. I'm going to run this index HTML with live server. So open that with live server. As you can see, the background color is red, so that means our style is connected successfully. Okay, so let's look at the design to see the reference. So this is the main body. Okay, so for the body, we're going to give it a background color. So for this one, I'm assuming that let's say you're going to make a website which you're going to scroll page by page. Okay, when you scroll page by page, so the height should be like minimum height 100 VH. So let's set this actually to 100 VH, the height. But if you're not making a website which you can scroll page by page, you can do minimum height of 100 VH, which minimum height means that the page is going to expand depending on your content you have on the website. So if the height is fixed to 100 VH, it's not going to expand. Okay, so if you do min height, it's going to expand accordingly. But if you just do height, the fixed height, it's not going to expand. Okay, so that's what I want in this video. You can choose whatever you want. And then we're going to do background image. So we're going to do URL. So the background image is going to be in the img, and then it's going to be bg.svg. So this background image is coming from, this is the background. Okay, so it's not covering the whole screen yet. We haven't done the styles. So if I go here, so this is the background image in the frame 2. Frame 2, we just exported this background. Okay, so to export that, oops, To export that, you can just temporarily remove this and then export this as an image here, okay, and then revert everything back to default. Okay, that's what I did. So now let's start the background. So, and then background size to cover, and then background repeat to no repeat. You can set the position as well, background position to center. Okay, so now it's covering the whole screen. Okay, so that's it for our background. Inside the HTML, we're going to that's where we're going to do this section here, the main content container. Okay, so that I'm going to do a main. So I'm going to say dot, actually it's main with a class of main container. So this is going to contain everything, main container. So in the main container, when I go to the design, so this is the main container here, and then this is the navigation, and then this is the body content. Okay, so navigation and body content. I'm going to do more divs, 2 more divs in here. I'm going to say navigation. So the top one is navigation. Actually, we're going to have another class. It's called main content in here. So this is the main content, everything. And then in the main content, we're going to have a navigation. So the navigation is supposed to be a nav, and then we do navigation. Okay, so we have a nav, and then after the nav we have body content. Okay, so we have body content. All right, so let's start with the main container. I'll copy this. Okay, so for the main container, we just need to set the background colors and the width and the height. So width is going to be 1734 pixels. So I'm getting these specific values from Figma. So when we did our design, we set the width of this one to 1734. So that's where I'm getting these values from. Okay, and then we have a height. So the height is going to be 915 pixels. 915 pixels. Alright, and then a border radius. The border radius is going to be something like 20 pixels. And then we have a border. Border is going to be 6 pixels solid. And then the color is going to be white. Okay, so after the border, we're going to do a box shadow. Okay, so the box shadow, I'll just copy the value. It's quite easy. So this is the box shadow. So 0 pixels on the x-axis, 3 pixels on the y, and then 74 pixels for the blur, and then the alpha is 0.15. Okay, so that's what it looks like right now, but we want it to be on the center. So to center this, actually we need a backdrop filter as well. So we're just going to do 13 pixels, and the background, the linear gradient, which we did in Figma. So just copy that linear gradient value from Figma. So if you go to Figma, just click the whatever item you want to copy the background from, and then go to the inspect, and then that's where you copy the background color. Okay, and also you can use this one as well if you want. We also want the blur as well. I'm pretty sure we did the blur already. Backdrop filter, yep, 13 pixels. Okay, so that's the main content container. As you can see, it looks nice. So the box shadow is there, border radius. Okay, so now what we need to do is center this. How do we center that? It's inside the body. So what we're going to do is we're going to do display flex to center that, and then align items to center. We're going to center this vertically. So align items is going to center vertically like this. Okay, centered, but we want to center this also horizontally. We're just going to do just file content to center, and then it's going to center this like this. All right, now that's done. Let's work on putting the content, the navigation content, because so far there's nothing in our navigation. Okay, so I'm going to have a logo. So the image, there's going to be an image for the logo. So it's inside img logo. So after the logo, we're going to have ul.nav items. So this is going to contain our nav items, and then li.nav item. Okay, so and then in here we're just going to have an anchor tag, and then it's going to lead to nowhere, so that's why we're putting a hash. And then we have home, and then I'm going to duplicate this two more times, 1 2 actually 3 more times. And then we have shop, categories, and then we have the about. Okay, so that's it for that. And then below that we have a burger menu, menu. Okay, so in here we're going to do an image. I've exported the burger menu as an image, so you can choose to do multiple divs in here, but I'm just going to do as an image. Then menu. Okay, there it is. Okay, so first off, I'm just going to start with the anchor tag. I want the anchor tag to have text decoration to none, and color, I'm just going to do inherit. Okay, in the body, I'm going to do color. So what color do I want to be using? Let me go to Figma and check. I'm just gonna copy this color here. It's an RGBA. I'll just copy that and then paste it here. Okay, so that's our main color. Okay, so we're also going to do li list style to none. We don't want those bullet points. Okay, so when I save that, as you can see, there's no bullet points anymore. I'm also going to do font weight 700. That's for the font I've downloaded. I just want it to be, you know, like this, be a bit bold. Okay, so now let's work on the navigation. I'm just going to copy this class name, so I'm going to style it. So here I'm just going to do navigation. Width is going to be 100%, and then we're going to do display flex, justify content to space between. Okay, so it should look like this. Okay, but we also need to give a padding. So the padding should be in the main content. So main. Actually, you know what? I'll just copy the main content. Main content like this. So we're going to have a padding around the 2 rem. So that's going to be our padding around, and the height is going to be 100%. It's going to give a padding around of 2 rem. Okay, around the whole thing. Alright, so now we also want to target the nav items. So I'll take the nav items. I'll just do display flex, and then align items to center. So I want them to be side by side like this. Okay, nav items, and then inside the nav item, I'm pretty sure we have nav item dot nav item, and then we're going to do margin. Top and bottom is going to be 0, left and right is going to be 2 rem, because we want to give a spacing between these two, not between these two, I mean between these navigation items. Or we can increase that to 2.5 rem. It's up to you how you want it to look like. Okay, so yeah, that's it for the navigation. Actually, I want to give the first one a class of active. Okay, active. So any nav item with a class of active, I want to have a different color. So for that, I'm going to Figma and select the primary color, this one, and just paste it there in here. Okay, so that's our color on every active item. Okay, active. Seems like the active class is not applied. Oh, now it's applied because I didn't save. Alright, so now I'll go to the body content to do some styles for everything that's we have left to do. Okay, so in the body content, we're going to do a grid. Okay, so minimize the nav, and then in here I'm going to say left items, and then we have left items and right items, left and right. Okay, so we're going to have a grid with 2 columns, left and right items. Okay, so for the left items, we're going to copy a bunch of text. So we have a paragraph, new season 2021, and then an H1 and a break. We're just breaking the line. Okay, so we're just breaking the line to go to the next line. So that's what this BR means for the H1. Alright, so as you can see, there it is. It's breaking to the next line. In the right items, in here we're just going to do an image, img. So this image is going to contain the main image. So the main image, this is the main image. Okay, and then we're going to have another div below that. It's going to be that red circle or pink circle, I can't remember the color. And then yeah, that's it for now. We just need to do the styling. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to target the body content in the CSS. I say body content. I'm going to display that as a grid. Okay, display grid, and then we're going to do grid template columns to repeat, and then we're going to do two columns and then 1 FR. We want everything to have equal size, so that's why we're using 1 FR. And the height, we want it to be 100%. And then position is going to be relative, because we're going to position absolute sum of the elements inside the left or right, so we want it to stay within this container. Okay, so now as you can see, we have a grid. Okay, there's our nice grid. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to target the right items first. Items. Okay, so for the right items, I'm going to do display flex, and then align items to center, and then justify content to center, and then position relative also. Okay, so now the image is now nicely centered here. Okay, I'm also going to do the same thing for the left items. Okay, it's kind of similar. So the left items, we're just going to do display flex and then flex directly into column. Okay, so now there it is, it's centered on the column. Okay, so now let's do that circle behind this lady. I'm just going to select the circle class, circle. We're going to do position absolute. It's going to be position of absolute. Width and height should be equal, because we want it to be circle, so width should be equal to the height. And then we're going to do border radius. It's going to be 50%. We want it to be rounded, that's why we're using 50%. And then the background color, just put any color you want. I'm just going to use that pink color. Okay, and then we're just going to do the z index. The z index is going to be -1. We want it to be behind the image. Okay, so now there it is. It's right behind the image, but we want to position this circle a bit more to the top. Okay, so I'll do top. I'll say top. I'll say maybe 100 pixels. Top 100 pixels. Okay, it's overlapping, so we need to look for nice values that are going to match 100 pixels. So the value that I found that is matching nicely is 107 pixels. You can inspect this and you can try to move this around top, so you can, try to see which value that matches for you. So it's up to you, whatever image you use. So you can still readjust this to match your image. Alright, I'm just going to refresh this. Okay, so now that's the circle is done. Let's work on the left items for the. Okay, so for the left items, I'm going to style the H1. So for the H1, okay, here I just do H1, and then I'm just going to do font size 6 rem, and then font weight. I'm just going to do 700, and then I'm going to do padding. So for the padding, top and bottom, it's going to be 2 rem, and then 0 left and right. Okay, there it is. Okay, and also for the paragraph, we're going to target the P. Font weight is going to be the same. You can use a different font weight, it's up to you. And then a line height of 2 rem. Alright, so there it is. We just need to define a font size. So for the font size in the body, just define a font size that you want to use. A default font size, so it's 1.2 rem for me. Excuse me. Okay, so it's 1.2 rem for me. You can do any font size that you want. Alright, let me go back to the design. Okay, so we have an explore more button down here. Okay, so go back to the index. After the H1, I'm just going to do an A, and then href is going to be hash. It's not going anywhere. And then I'm going to do explore more. Okay, so I'm just going to use some HTML entities for spacing. NBSP. So NBSP means space a bit more. Okay, so and also I'm going to do an arrow. Okay, so I'm going to say right arrow. Okay, so these are some HTML entities. So when I do that, now I got an arrow right here. Or what you can do, you can redesign your own arrow, or you can use an image. When I go to the design, you can export this as an SVG, but I'm just using an HTML entity. So when you go to HTML entities, you can see a reference chart of every HTML entity that you want to use. Okay, so in this case, we're just using an arrow. You can use any entity you want. We just need to change this color. I think I'll give this a class so I can style this differently. I'm just going to say this btn. You can name it whatever you want. Put it down here, .btn, and then I'm just going to do color, RGB. I think it's this one. Alright, so there is our button. Now let's inspect this. I'm going to go to left items. I'm going to do margin bottom to rem. Okay, I want it to be a bit more up, so that's why I'm doing margin bottom to rem. You can increase to whatever you like, so I want it to be more up here. So left, here I'm just going to do margin bottom of to rem. Okay, so there's only one thing that is left to do. We're just going to do a mouse here. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go after the right items, not left, right. Okay, here I'm just going to do mouse. Okay, mouse, I'll copy that. So, but remember, we did a position of relative to the parent container. So the parent container is the body content, it's position relative. So this mouse is going to stay within the body content if we do position of absolute. Okay, so that's why we did relative to the parent container. So now it's just a matter of styling the mouse. Okay, so for the mouse, position is absolute, and then we're going to do width and height. It's going to be different. I'm just going to paste some values here. I came up with these values off camera. So, and then background color is going to be transparent, and then a border is just going to be 4 pixels solid white. Okay, and then I'm going to do left 50%. Okay, I want to, it should be here somewhere. I didn't save the HTML. Okay, save everything. Oh, there it is. So there is our mouse, and then I'm just going to do border radius. I can do like 50 pixels, so to make it rounded like this. Okay, and then I'm going to do bottom. I want it to be at the bottom. I'll do 7%. Okay, 7%. There's a spacing here, 7% at the bottom. Okay, and then I'm also going to translate this, translate on the x-axis. I want it to be nicely centered, minus 50%. Okay, it means it will be centered horizontally. Okay, if I do minus 50%. All right, so now after that, so we have a border radius, and I think that's it for the mouse. We just need to put a dot inside here. So we're going to do an after pseudo element. So we're just going to do the mouse, and then we're going to do after. We're just going to create a new pseudo element. So if I do content, I'm just going to do an empty string, because we want to style this whatever we want. So we're doing this content here, we can make anything we want from this. Okay, and then it's going to have a position of absolute, same styles here, position absolute left 50% as well. So like this, position absolute left 50%. Width and height is going to be the same, because we want to make it a circle. Background color is going to be white. So if you want to make something a circle, it should have the same width and height. And then we can put a border radius of 50%. Border radius 50%. So it will be nicely. So there it is. Our circle is here. We just need to position that. Just going to say top. I'll do 76%. You can put any values that you want. So there it is. There's our circle. But I think we might also want to do a box shadow. Let me double check if we did a box shadow here. Yeah, there is a box shadow. Inspect. Seems like there is none. Oh, there is. What? No, the wrong thing. Yep, there is a box shadow here. Actually, filter. Yeah, there is a drop shadow. I'll just copy this value here. I'll copy and then I'll just paste it here on the mouse. Okay, yeah, so there it is. It's applied. So I think we just need to do for the beggar menu and the logo. I'll just copy the name of logo and beggar menu, and then I'll just do a cursor of pointer. So when I hover, it shows the pointer. Okay, let me see how much I've been recording this video. Okay, actually we can also do a bit of an animation as well. Let's try to animate that. We're going to do at keyframes. Okay, so let's just say transform. We're going to do 0%, 0%. We're going to do transform, translate. We're just going to translate the y-axis. Okay, yeah, 0%. I think it's going to be something like 0, and then 100. Let's see this. Okay, 100%. Inspect. Okay, so initially we want the after. Okay, so initially it's going to start at, actually we can it's going to start at 0, so transform translate y. So translate y. Instead of actually doing a translate, we can do a top. So I'm refresh this. We can just manipulate the top value. So here it's 76%. I can bump it up like this, 12%. Okay, so change this to top 12%. Top is going to stay the same here. Okay, let's see how that works. Then here we do animation. Here we just put the name, duration. Let's do 2 seconds, and then we can also do ease in and ease out, and then infinite, so we can make a loop. Alright, so our animation is working. So we just need to do 50%. We want this value to be at 50%. Okay, and then this value to be 100%. Okay, so there it is. I think I'll duplicate this to make it say something like 90, actually 70. I'll make this a bit stack. Okay, I want it to be a bit stack between 50 to 70%. Okay, So yeah, there it is. Okay, so now yeah, we've done the animation. I think that's it for this video. I'll see you on the next one. I forgot something. We need to do the, do you remember those circles for switching the pages? When I go to Figma, as you can see, we have these circles. Let's do those. Okay, I'll go to the CSS and then in the main content, just make some space, and then that's where we're going to do the circles. Okay, actually I'll do that in the right items. I'll just do here. I'm just going to name those dots. That's the class name, and then we're going to do dot 3 divs. So we're going to multiply that by 3 because we're going to have 3 dots. Okay, and then we're going to say dot 1. Want to style this differently, so I'm going to target the dots. So when you go to style, just target the dots. Okay, here I'm just going to do, actually I'm going to target every dot. We're going to do position of absolute, and then right is going to be 0. Position absolute right is equal to 0 because I want it to be at the right, and then top 45%, and then we're going to do display flex, and then flex direction to column. Want it to be one after another, so that's why we're doing flex direction column. And then transform, translate, we want to center this, so we're going to translate on the y-axis. We want to center that. Translate y minus 50%, and then that's pretty much it for the, actually it's the dots. For the dots, now we just need to style the dot, the individual dots. Okay, so width and height should be the same, and border radius 50% to make it circular. It's going to be circle if we do width and height the same and border radius 50%. And I'm also going to give a margin top and bottom of 1 rem, and then left and right is going to be 0, and then a border and a background color. Okay, so this is our border, the pink color, and then background color to white. Okay, so let me rerun this. Actually not rerun, I'm just going to refresh. There it is. Okay, so but for the first item I want it to have a different color, the primary color. So the first item, I've named it dot one because I want to style that specifically, and then I'm going to do a background color. Okay, background color, that. Okay, all I need to do is just save. Alright, so yeah, I think that's it for this video. I'll see you on the next one, and please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.